Hi everyone, this is Anthony from Creativa Solutions. Welcome to another past paper support session. Today I'm going to be looking at DSC1630. I'm going to be taking you through the October-November 2015 paper. Again, we'll look at exactly how to approach the questions, what to look out for, and how to get to the final answer. Alright guys, so let's get started. First bit, just the third-party disclaimer again. The material in this video may include information, products, or services by third parties. Third-party materials comprise of the products and opinions expressed by their owners. As such, I do not assume responsibility or liability for any third-party materials or opinions. I cannot guarantee the accuracy of the information contained in the third-party material. Presentation of such third-party material is simply used as a tool for assisting viewers with answering questions for educational purposes. Remember, all trademarks appearing in this guide are the property of the respective owners. Alright, you're obviously watching the video which is going to show you exactly how to approach the exam paper. You can get more content and resources on the website www.creativasolutions.com. Good luck with your studies. Follow us on Twitter, like the video, and watch the YouTube channel for more support. Okay guys, let's get started. Obviously, we're looking at the October-November 2015 paper. You'll see it's a 2-hour paper for 100 marks. Right, most important is obviously the calculator, so make sure you do have one with you in the exam. That's obviously important. You won't be able to do a lot of the calculations without a financial calculator. Okay, so again, I've obviously recommended the Casio as an option. You can also consider the HP as well as the Sharp. Right, those are all different brands of calculator that obviously allow you to do the time value of money calculations. Okay. Alright guys, so if we look at question 1, remember there's always going to be something in the question that's going to stand out. Okay, so if I look at this question, you'll see the word simple interest should be standing out. Okay, that's key. Alright, as soon as you see that, you go to your formula sheet. Okay, you go to the equations. Right, and you take the equation for simple interest. Right, so that's the formula I'm going to be utilizing for this particular question. Alright, so I'm going to copy that from my formula sheet through to my workings. I'm then going to substitute all the information in. Okay, you can see the investment is 20, it's going to accumulate to 45,200, and the rate of interest is 12%. Right, I substitute everything in, right, then I do some arithmetic in terms of the mathematics, and I solve for t. T is going to come out to 10,5 years. Okay, option number 4. Right, 2 says the simple interest rate is equal to the discount rate. Okay, so when I see simple interest and simple discount, I know I'm going to be using this equation. Okay, because I've got the simple interest being the R and the discount interest being the D. Right, so I write down that equation, substitute and I solve. Okay, and you should be getting 0,1463, okay, which is 14.63%. Right, so all I did is I literally spotted simple interest, simple discount. Okay, that's obviously the key. Once you've got that, you've got the rate given in the question, you've got the time given in the question, just substitute and solve for the missing figure. Alright, question 3. The amount of money that CPO will have available in the savings account after a period of 5 years. Okay, that's obviously N. If you invested 12,000 at an interest rate of 16% compounded every 3 months. Okay, remember to interpret the timing correctly. Okay, remember every 3 months means 4 times a year. Okay, because 3 months makes up 1 quarter. Right, so N is going to obviously be in quarters, right, and this is 16% per annum, that's I4. Right, so make sure you spot compound interest here and then literally substitute the variables into the calculator. Use the financial calculator and solve. Right, and if I solve for the future value, right, I'm going to get option number 3, 26,293,48. Alright, question 4 says, Pete urgently needs 10,000 to buy a new computer. Susie agrees to give him this amount now to pay back over 7 months. Okay, from now, based on simple discount. Okay, there's the key word, simple discount. As soon as I see that, I know I'm dealing with that equation that I used a bit earlier. No, not that one, this one. Okay, we haven't actually used it yet. That's the first question utilizing that formula. Alright, so I take that formula through to my workings. Okay, I know there's an amount of 10,000. He needs to buy a computer, 10,000. Okay, that's the amount that he requires. Obviously, that's the interest rate. Okay, and the amount that Pete will have to pay back. Okay, so how much will he have to pay back? Okay, we know this is going to be paid back 7 months from now. Right, so I take those values, I substitute in, and I solve. Right, and S, which is future value, comes out to that amount. Okay, 5 says Mario owes Sweetness 500 due in 4 months, 700 due in 9 months. He wants to liquidate these obligations with a single payment in 12 months' time. Right, if simple interest, so there's the keyword again, of 11% per year is charged on all the amounts, the amount that Sweetness will pay 12 months is. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to have to take those amounts forward. Okay, why? Because I'm looking at what? Simple interest. Okay, so I'm going to be moving those amounts forward. It's due in 4 months, due in 9 months, but they want to make one payment, okay, in 12 months time. Alright, so if you draw a little timeline, it's probably better to draw a little sketch just to get an idea of what the picture looks like. Okay, so that's obviously time now, time 4 months, time 9 months, 12 months. Okay, there's going to be a payment here that's going to amortize those amounts owing from the previous working. Okay, so I'm literally going to be taking those figures there, okay, and I'm going to be moving those amounts forward. Okay, and then I'll add up all those amounts here at the end, okay, because that will represent the amount that is owed, okay, the total. Right, and the total that I get after adding up those two amounts at the end, 12,559.2. Okay, and that's how I would do question number 5. Right, 6 says, Jeremy invests that amount, okay, in a special account on 5 March, planning to withdraw accumulated amount on 27 November. Interest is credited on the 1st of every month at that percentage compounded monthly. That's important. Okay, they want to know what fractional compounding is used for the whole period. Okay, when fractional compounding is used for the whole period, the accumulated amount. Okay, so they're asking you to take that one amount and move it forward to that date. Okay, from that date to that date using fractional compounding. Okay, obviously it's fractional compounding purely because I'm using what? The number of days. Okay, so I obviously need to use my table again, and I need to determine how many days from the one date to the next. Right, so if you count the number of days from 5 March to 27 November, okay, again, use the table. We've used it quite a lot for different calculations, so you should be comfortable doing that by now. You should be getting 267 days of the year being 365. Okay, that's the fractional compounding. Right, I'm going to need I1. Okay, so I was given I12 in the question. Okay, that was I12, which I will convert to I1. Okay, so i.e. calculate the EFF on your financial calculator. Right, that's probably the easiest thing to do, okay, is to calculate the EFF using your financial calculator. You don't have to use the formula, it's not necessary. If you've got the calculator, use the calculator. Right, so your EFF comes out to 13,0773%. Alright, so now I've got the right I. Alright, if I solve for my future value, I'm going to get 27,351,05783. Okay, and that's question number 6. Alright, 7 says the cumulative amount after 6 years if that amount is invested continuously. Okay, so as soon as I see that, I need that equation. Okay, so go to your formula sheet, take the equation, write it down, substitute and solve. Right, and if you substitute and solve, you're going to get that answer, 18,025.77. Right, question 8 is asking you for the effective rate for continuous compounding. Right, so again, we need to look for the correct equation in the formula sheet. Okay, I'm looking for the effective rate, so I'm going to be using that equation. Write it down, substitute and solve. Alright, then literally type that into your calculator. Remember to put brackets, okay, and the exponent there for the E, and you'll ultimately get the 19.12. Alright, question number 9 says the accumulated amount of payments of 5,000 into an account every quarter. There's the key word. Payments are quarterly for 10 years. Do I want years? No, I don't. I want everything to be the same. Okay, obviously your I is given as I4, which is great. Okay, because you've got payments that are quarterly. Remember, your payments determine what you need to convert. Alright, and that's what I get, guys. Okay, obviously I'm substituting all those variables into my financial calculator. Remember, your payments are key, they're quarterly, so N and I both need to be in quarters. Alright, 10's asking you about the nominal interest rate. It's 16.5%, compound at the end of every second month. They want to know what the effective rate is. Okay, so these are easy questions that you should really hope for in the exam. Why? Use the financial calculator and solve for EFF. Alright, that's all you're going to have to do. It's easy as that. Okay, so if I'm looking at HP or Sharp, depending what calculator or Casio, it all depends. Okay, you're obviously going to change your settings to insert either HP, your P over Y, okay, must be 6. Your I over Y, which is your rate, must be the 16,5. And then you would go second function EFF, and you get an answer of okay, right. Or if you had the Sharp, you're going to use the XY button, so 6 okay, and you're going to get the exact same answer here. Alright guys, and that's question 10. Nice and simple. Right, obviously if you've got the Casio, which is the calculator that I've got, that I use, right, you would go into the convert function. Okay, you would change your N to 6, right? You would insert the I, which is 16.5, and then you solve for the EFF. Okay, so depending on which calculator you've got, just obviously consult the manual just to find out how to utilize your specific make and model. Okay, and you should be fine calculating that. Alright, 11 talks about a safari. Okay, it has to be paid off with a loan of 7,000 due now and a loan of 2,000 due in 14 months in 3 payments, 2, 5, and 10. Alright, so this is very similar to the previous question we've looked at. Okay, it might even be the same as one of the other past papers. UNISA does tend to sometimes reuse 1 or 2 questions here and there. Okay, this is a similar question as one we've looked at before. So obviously you should have a good idea of what to do here. The key is obviously to draw a timeline, alright, and then take everything to one point in time. Okay, so we're looking at an amount today, 7,000 Rand loan, X here as a payment, 2X there as a payment, and 3X there as a payment. Right, and then obviously there's going to be another loan here. Okay, and now I need to do some mathematics. Okay, I'm going to take everything back to one point in time. Remember, those are the payments. Okay, those are the loans. Take everything to one point in time. Alright, so my preference is to take everything back to one point in time, i.e. time 0. Okay, so I'm going to take those figures over there in the future, and I'm going to move each and every one of them back to time 0. Okay, so discount everything back to time 0 and you'll get the correct answer. Okay, remember the loans must equal the repayments. Okay, at where? At time 0. Okay, so obviously my one loan doesn't need to be discounted, but my other loan does. Right, X will be taken back 2 periods. Two X will be taken back 5 periods. And 3X will be taken back 10 periods. Alright, so what I've got on the left must equal what I have on the right. Okay, because the loans must equal the repayments. Okay, so what's on the left must equal what's on the right. All right, I obviously need to do some mathematics here. I need to type in those values into the calculator and I need to solve. All right, so let's do those calculations and see what we get. Right, and that's the X that you get. Okay, what did the question ask for? The question asked for that. Okay, the payment at time 5. Right, so I'm going to have to multiply this by 2 to get the payment at time 5. Right, and that's the final answer that I get. Okay, long question there. Just remember, you need to obviously include the correct amounts, okay, in the equation in order to calculate the correct answer. Right, and remember to draw a timeline. The timeline's key, and then putting everything where it needs to go. Okay, that's what I mean by making sure that you've inserted the amounts correctly. Okay, you can't have 2x here and x there. Okay, the question clearly said the first payment is x, then twice, and then triple. Okay. Alright, 12. You're saving, okay, or you're investing rather in a retirement annuity with yearly payments, right? And there's applicable rate. Annuity matures in 20 years time, and if he decides after his first payment to annually increase the payment by 175. See, there's the keyword that should be standing out big time. Okay, why? Well, this is a growing annuity. Alright, so you go to your formula sheet and you find the equation for a growing annuity. I write down that equation, and I then substitute and solve. Alright, so the first bit can be calculated using your financial calculator. And insert the variables. Okay, obviously your payment here is going to be a working which is the 6750. Right, what else do I have in the question? Well, we had the rate, we had the time, and I solve for the future value. I'm going to get 691,494.1827. Okay, and then you still need to do this, the minus n over q. Okay. Alright, so if I take this amount and I less that amount, final answer, okay, option number 4. Okay, I've rounded to the nearest rand there, obviously the 1/8 needs to go there as well. Alright guys, question 12 complete. Okay, the next one talks about an accident that occurred, okay, due to a faulty tank. Obviously, Sea and Surf Company agreed to pay Nina, a drive instructor, $6,825 per month indefinitely. Okay, money is worth 12.6% compounded monthly. The amount of money that the Sea Surf Company must have available now to fund the payments. Okay, so we're looking at the PV of what? A perpetuity. See, keyword there that stands out, indefinitely. Okay, so you write down PV equals payment over the I, you substitute and you solve. gives me 650,000. Okay, and that's the amount of capital that will be required to make those monthly payments. Right, 4 is theory, looking at correlation coefficient. Okay, so that's obviously from your textbook, okay, your study guide, and the theory is being tested here in terms of correlation. Option 1 would be the correct answer. Why? Right, we're looking at a strong negative correlation coefficient. Right, 15 is a calculation again, her monthly payment if she chooses to amortize the debt. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at a loan that's going to be paid off. Right, so we need to identify the variables. The debt is 6,000, you've got an interest rate, it's compounded monthly, that's normal compound interest. Substitute onto your calculator and solve. Right, and that's how you do it. Alright, question 16 looks quite long. Okay, generally longer questions require timelines. Right, in this case, you've got Cara bought an old car for her first year at university. Okay, 60,000, she obtained a loan bearing that amount of interest compounded half yearly. That's key. Okay, when I see that, I need to identify that as I2. Okay, the debt must be discharged by the means of sinking fund. Okay, so you know this is a sinking fund question. You know what the sinking fund can earn, and you know that the debt must be discharged over 5 years. Right, the size of the quarterly payments into the sinking fund. Right, that's important. Why? Because we're looking at the quarterly payments into the fund, so that's the rate that I'm going to be using. Okay, compounded quarterly. Okay, and I'm going to get that answer, option number 1. Alright, 17, 18, and 19 are all going to be using this particular table. Okay, so we need to use the amounts in the table in order to calculate the correct answer. Okay, so if we're looking at this particular question, right, you'll see it's broken up into different parts. Okay, you've got 17, 18, and 19 covering different topics. Okay, so obviously 17 is looking at the applicable interest rate, okay, which you should know interest is principal times rate. Okay, so if I know what the principal is, right, and I know what the rate is, I can then calculate the interest. Alright, so in the question I was given what? Interest. And I've got the balance. Okay, the rate comes out to 10%. Okay, then they want the value of the yearly payment. Alright, so that's what they want. Alright, so in order to work out the payment, I'm going to have to look at this, the capital, plus the interest. Okay, remember those two amounts are provided for by the payment. Okay, the payment pays off interest, a portion of interest, and a portion of capital. Alright, so if I add those two amounts together, I'm going to get the capital. Alright, and I get that answer over there. Option number 2. Right, and then 19 asks for what? The value of the amount paid back in year 4, which is D. Okay, so they wanted you to also work out this. Okay, well again, that would be easy, right? Because you've got A, you've got the payment, right, and you've got the interest. Okay, so payment minus interest will give me the capital amount paid back. Okay, and there's your answer. Simple as that. Alright, question 20, guys. So far so good. Okay, remember in the exam you would have passed the exam already. Okay, how many questions do you require? You need 15 correct out of 30 in order to pass. Okay, so first objective is obviously to pass the exam and then to try to get your distinction. Okay, so always find or try find 15 of the easier questions that you're more comfortable doing. Get those out of the way, do them at the beginning of the exam, maybe in the first hour, and then later on cover the more difficult. Right, question number 20 looks long, okay? If you read the question, right, you'll see there's always going to be something that stands out, okay? And there's the key word. For me, the real cost of the loan should be standing out. Why? Because that's a formula. Total real costs equals present value at inflation minus the cost. Okay, right, so all you're going to have to do is work out the present value at inflation. That's the hardest part. Right, and they've given you all the information in the question. They tell you the loan was for 790,000. They've told you what the payments are. They've given you the fixed rate compounded monthly, and they've given you the average inflation. See, there's the key, the inflation, 9.2%. Right, and I get that answer there. Then what do? I less the cost of 790,000. Right, from that particular answer. Okay, and I'm getting that option. And that's the answer for question number 20. Right, question number 21. Lolita has saved an amount of 35 in an account to pay for her monthly rent. Okay, for a parking bay at work, the account earns that interest compounded monthly, and she withdraws 500 per month from this account to pay her parking. The maximum number of months that she can pay for her parking from this account is, okay, so you're solving for n. N is the unknown, how many months? Okay, we know there's a 500 Rand monthly payment that needs to be made, okay, in terms of a withdrawal. Okay. Alright, so let's do the calculation. Remember to put a negative there, otherwise the calculator will get confused. Right, and your end comes out as 115 months. Okay, slightly over, right, but that's your end. Okay, so if we look at question 22, there's always something that should be standing out. Okay, you're planning to rent a flat for that amount per month, paid in advance. See, there's the key. If it's paid in advance, you need to change your calculator to begin mode. Okay, because those payments are occurring at the beginning of the timeline rather than at the end of the month. Okay, beginning of the month rather than at the end of the month. Okay, so NB, begin mode. Identify the variables. Okay, you'll see obviously we want to know what the present value of these monthly payments are. Okay, the rate was 12.35 compounded monthly, so we know that's I12, right? And we're looking at the lump sum that you must pay at the beginning of the contract for the first year's rent. Right, and I get that answer. Okay, so what is the lump sum that's required for this particular scenario? Option 2. Right, 23 is a nice question looking at IRR. Okay, so all you're going to have to do is substitute those amounts in terms of your cash flow. Okay, so use the cash flow. On the financial calculator. Right, remember to start off with the initial investment, which in this case was 500,000. That's an outflow. Okay, so I insert my cash flow into the financial calculator, minus 500,000 for the first cash flow, then 75 for the second, 190 for the third, 40,000 for the fourth, 150,000 for the fifth, 180,000. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got everything. Okay, then solve for IRR. Okay, and you get 7.78. Okay. Right, question 24 is theory. Okay, if the yield to maturity is less than the coupon rate, okay, then the all-in price is greater than 100. In this case, we say that we purchase the bond at what? Obviously, a premium. Alright, 25, nice question. Okay, again, it's can you use the calculator? That's all it is. Solve for standard deviation. Okay, having been given agent, okay, number of houses sold. Alright, so obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 agents, right, and you've got the number of houses sold. Right, so on your financial calculator, use the stats mode and solve for the standard deviation. Alright, and we're going to get that 6.60. 6.60, option number 3. Right, 26 is looking at modified IRR. Okay, they want the duration of the project N to be expressed as the subject of your equation. Right, so obviously we need to start with something, and there's the start. Okay, start with your modified IRR. Right, so now we're going to be manipulating that equation to make N the subject of my equation. Right, remember, I need to take numbers to the left and the right. Okay, so that's my equation. I've taken the one on the right to the left, it becomes a plus. Right, I'm then going to get rid of the exponent. Okay, so this is now going to have an exponent it's actually the exponents. I'm going to need to use a log here. Okay, if I put the n on the other side, it doesn't actually help the solution. Okay, because I'm going to have n on this side, and then I won't have it on that side. Okay, which actually will still work out. Then you're not going to have to invert the log. Okay, so maybe let's do it that way. It's going to be fine. Let's put a bracket there. Okay, to the power, open bracket, n, close brackets. Right, which eliminates that. Okay, so that's what you currently have. Alright, so I've got this. Let's write that down here. Okay, PV of the outflows. Alright, so what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to think of this. Okay, equals 3. Alright, so what is 3? 3 is my exponent. Okay, there's my exponent. Right, log of 2. 2 is my base. There's my base. There's my base. There's my base. Right, of the answer, present value of the outflows. Okay, which is what I've got there. Okay, obviously you can change logs to lins, right? So I can rewrite this whole thing as ln over ln using the log rules. Okay, remember there's a log rule that says this. Okay, that's what I'm applying to this particular question. Okay, so I'm going to have ln here over that. Okay, so looking at our options, we're going to be choosing option. This would be option 3. Yeah, option 3 looks great. Alright, question number 27, guys. Okay, if you look at question 27, you can see it's a theory question talking about when are you going to accept or reject. Okay, we're obviously looking at net present value here and cost of capital. Alright, so if net present value is negative, we'll reject. We would accept. Okay, profitability index must be greater than 1, which they both are. Okay, and IRR must be greater than cost of capital, which they both are. Okay, so if I look at NPV, right, that's the base I'm going to be using. Okay, so option 2, only B would be chosen. Why? NPV greater than 0, choose B. Right, question 28. Here's your bond question. So in this particular exam, they came out at the end, which is great, okay, because we know bonds are slightly more difficult to do compared to some of the other questions. Alright guys, for question 28, if you look at the question, they're asking you for accrued interest. Okay, if I look at this, I know H is the 184 and I know R is the 37. Okay, and if the accrued interest 37 days is greater than 10 days, okay, so I know this is cum interest. Right, so if it's cum interest, I'm going to use this formula over there. Okay, and I'm going to solve. Okay, what are my payments? Well, the coupon I get from the question. There's the coupon. Okay, but remember, this is key. Okay, it's 184. So 184 is half yearly. Okay, so 6.6 needs to be multiplied by 2. Don't forget to divide by 365. Right, and I get that answer there. Option number 3. Okay. Alright, question 29. Okay, again, you should like question 29 purely because it's a can you use the calculator question. You've got X and you've got Y and they've asked you for the regression line. Alright, so again, using the stats mode, linear regression. Okay, so using the stats mode on your calculator, solve for A and B. Right, if you do, A comes out to that's A and B. Okay, and the equation is y equals A plus bx. So y equals 22,6 minus 1.9x, which is option 1. Okay. Okay, if you look at question 30, you're looking at what? Bond calculations. Okay, and these are the longer questions purely because they're asking you for the all-in price. Okay, you can see the settlement date is different to the maturity date. So as soon as you've got that, you know you're going to have to draw up a timeline and you're going to have to solve. Okay, so let's have a look at the timeline. Right, again, I'm going to look at assuming half yearly. Why? Because according to your study guide, right, they've mentioned there that the convention generally is half yearly. Okay, so here they haven't told you specifically this is half yearly. They should have. Okay, if you do it yearly, you're probably not going to get one of those answers. You're probably going to get none of the above. Okay, so I would start off by doing the half yearly, see what you get. If one of those options are there, then you know your assumption is correct. Alright, so let's do the calculation. Obviously, we need to draw up a timeline. Okay, so I've got the timeline from the dates. I obviously have H and I have R. Okay, so if you work out H, you should be getting 183 days, okay, from 16 April to 16 October. R is 146 days, 23 May to 16 October. Step 1, obviously get the price at that point in time. Okay, so from 16 October here to 16 April 2042, that's 26,5 years. I was given as 13.4%. Remember, that's the yield to maturity. Divide by 2. Your coupon was 15.88. Again, divide by 2. Assume half yearly. Solve for PV. If I solve for PV, I'm going to get 17. Right, and I can see that's an option. Okay, so I'm on the right track. Right, generally with a multiple choice type of exam, okay, normally they give you all those questions, or not questions, options in the question, because they want to see if you understand what you're doing. Okay, if I worked it, I'm thinking, ooh, okay, that's my answer. It's not the answer. Okay, because that's the price at 16 October. Okay, so cum interest, therefore add the coupon. What is the coupon? 15.88 divided by 2. Alright, so I'm going to have to add that to this number over there. Right, and I get that. Okay, now what is that? That's the price at 16 October. That, again, isn't the answer. You need to take this back now. Okay, so step 3. Fractional discounting or compounding. Okay, but I'm moving backwards. It's discounting. Take everything back in time. Okay, 19.05, 64092, which if you round off to the nearest fifth decimal place, that's the exact answer. Okay, so I'll definitely be choosing option 3 here, obviously assuming half yearly and not yearly. Okay, if you assume half yearly, you're going to get one of those options. Alright guys, so that's another past paper complete.